I feel like this video is a rite of passage for any self-development YouTuber, so it's only fair that I do one of these myself. Here are 3 books that changed my life. Number 1. The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss. Okay, I know this is cliche, but I can't change the facts. This genuinely changed my life. I read the 4-Hour Workweek when I was on holiday about 4, 5, maybe even 6 years ago, and I read it on the Kindle, which by the way was a mistake because there were so many notes to take, and if you watch my last video, you'll know just how I feel about note-taking on the Kindle. But, like the good little nerd I am, I took a notepad and pen with me on holiday. I knew there'd be a use for it poolside. So, the tagline for the book is escape the 9 to 5, live anywhere, and join the new rich. And as a good little Indian girl, okay, maybe not that good, I didn't quite become the doctor my grandma wanted me to be, so she had to settle for an accountant as a granddaughter. #letdown. As an Indian girl, I was raised to believe that my path was set out for me. Go to school, study, get a job, get married, have kids, get them married, retire. Oh, and be a good housewife at the same time as working, because you know, double standards. Anyway, I digress. The point of that is to say that Indian or not, a lot of us are brought up to think that there's only one path in life. The path our parents and their parents took. It's usually a 9 to 5 that we don't really care about, but we do because that's just the way it's done. And we work until we hit state retirement age, and then we might get to enjoy ourselves a little. Depressing. But that's just the way it's done, right? Wrong. Enter Tim Ferriss and the 4-Hour Workweek. Apparently, we're allowed to enjoy our lives while we're still young. And anything that talks about me not having to do any work has me all ears. So into the book I go. The specifics around working 4 hours a week are not relevant here. It's the idea and the mindset change that it talks about that's key. The idea is that we shouldn't have to wait until retirement to enjoy ourselves. We can take mini retirements through our lives. This is the idea of the new rich. And a big way of doing that is through generating passive income and through leveraging outsourcing, which is another thing my grandma isn't a fan of.
I can make it at home for nothing.
The thing that people can get caught up is in the idea that because they can do it themselves for free, they should. And it would be a waste of money to outsource. But this is absolutely not the case, and your time is money. There are so many more valuable tasks that you could be doing in that time. For example, instead of editing this video, I can send it to my editor and have him do it. That's a good 10 hours of my life saved right there. Imagine all the more value-adding tasks I could do in that time. There's a crap ton of practical advice in this book too, and it just opened my eyes to a whole new world and a whole new way of doing things. This idea that there's more to life than just the corporate world, that you could and should generate money while you sleep, and then the idea that you should enjoy your life while you can and not have to wait until you're frail and too old to do anything. So for this, I would like to thank Mr. Tim Ferriss. Number 2. The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying by Marie Kondo. Yes, I know I've already done a separate full video on this book, which I'll link in the description for you to watch after this, but I still had to include it here. Way back when, I picked up Marie Kondo's book, and it wasn't even an intentional choice. It was just in my brother's room. I have no idea why he had a copy. I saw it and I had nothing better to do that day, so I thought I'd start reading it. But when I started, I couldn't stop. My mind was being blown like every minute. Her introduction and story about herself totally resonated with me, and I was like, how are you reading my mind, lady? Get out of my head. Obviously she wasn't, and I'm sure her story resonated with a million other people, hence her selling over 1 million copies of the book, but still, I felt like she was talking to me and about to give me the key to life. On the face of it, it's a book about decluttering your space. She gives you practical tips and a checklist of how to declutter your house. A nice step-by-step process which by the time you've read the book, you'll be chomping at the bit to get started on. But her book is just disguised as a tidying book. It's actually so much more than that.
Sneaky, sir.
To be fair though, had I known I was about to have a life-changing experience, I probably would have put off reading the book. I would have needed everything to be perfect and the universe to have aligned for that kind of experience. So I guess it's a good thing she was being all sneaky. Even after I read the book though, I didn't quite realise what had happened.
What?
I just wanted to throw out a bunch of my old uni notes and put off whatever task I'd set myself to do that weekend. But what preceded was a couple of days of utter chaos in my room when everything was taken from its home, held in my hands and asked, "Do you spark joy?" Turns out I didn't have all that much joy in my life, so many black bin bags of rubbish later and my room was finally looking decluttered. But the most bonkers thing was how I was feeling. I literally felt like a huge weight had been lifted off me. I felt so free and my mind was clear. Yes, I could see all my clothes in one place and I knew of everything I owned. But more than that, I felt like I was a new person with a new outlook on life. And it really set the path that I'm on today. Cheesy, but true. And in the words of Marie, I would like to thank this book for the joy it sparked in me. Oh God, did I just say that out loud? And number 3, Greg McKeown's Essentialism. I've always been someone who doesn't like to let people down, and I have super bad FOMO. So if anyone needs any help or there's an event that I don't even want to go to, I'm like, yeah, of course, I would love to help, or I'd love to go, because I want to be helpful, and what if I miss something? But then I read Essentialism, and I'm not saying the FOMO has completely gone by any means, but I sure as hell am a whole lot more comfortable saying no to things.
Oh yeah, I'd totally love to, but no.
This book is based around a fairly similar concept to minimalism, but with life in general rather than just things. Its tagline is the disciplined pursuit of less. In other words, do less, but do it better. And to do that, we have to reject this idea that we can do everything, because quite frankly, we can't. It's about the vital few versus the trivial many, and the idea is that you should try and be an editor in your own life and edit out as many of these trivial tasks as possible. There's a quote from the book that I really like. The way of the essentialist means living by design, not by default. And this is where habits and routines come in and play such a crucial part. Yay, structure. I love this idea that if something isn't a clear yes, it's a clear no. Greg talks about the 90% rule, where anything rated less than 90% is a 0. So if there's a thing you've been asked to go to and you're not 90% yeah, I want to go about it, then don't go. Why waste your time and energy on something you don't want to? I mean, there are probably some exceptions to this. You know, like work, maybe if your kids need you. And my grandma sure as hell wasn't impressed when I said I didn't quite feel like taking her to the temple that one time. So it's not something to use as an excuse to get out of things, but again, it's the principle here. It just made me reevaluate some things. It's about focusing on what's truly important and essential to you. That could be your family, your friends, or some projects you're working on at the moment. It doesn't have to be one thing forever either. You could be focused on one thing for the next 3 months, and then it switches. But it's about making that clear distinction, because when you say yes to something, you're saying no to everything else. So make sure you're saying yes to the right things. Alright guys, if you like this and maybe want to do some decluttering of your own, then check out my full video on the life changing and magic over here. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.